Exploring Bitcoin requires asking a simple-sounding question that turns out to be a very complicated one to answer. That simple question is, what exactly is money? Why must we ask this question? It turns out that another thing many of us took for granted as a belief was that money is something our nation's governments say is money. But Bitcoin shows up and says, no, this isn't true. Something else is money. I, Bitcoin, claim to be money. I claim the thing you believe is money is in fact not money. I claim it is merely pretending to be money. I claim that its pretense is the cause of many of society's troubles. I claim I can fix those troubles. Had we not already had our other beliefs shattered by the story of Bitcoin's creation, we would simply tell Bitcoin, go away and take with you your crazy claims. But instead, we are now curious to understand what is at the heart of this claim. And as we pull on the thread of that question a little bit, a lot comes unraveling very quickly. One thing that is clear about Bitcoin is that it is a claim to being money which is not issued and not controlled by governments. Previously, we mostly believed that money had to be issued and controlled by government. It has been this way for all of us for our whole life, after all. But Bitcoin doesn't stop at declaring that it is only governments that are not an essential part of money. It also claims to be money not issued or controlled by anyone at all. No banks issue it or control it. No regulators, no corporations, no charismatic leaders. Nobody. Bitcoin asks us to separate the idea of money from the institutions and people that have come to control money. In today's world, these happen to be governments, central banks, financial insiders, powerful multinational corporations, militaries, and other hugely powerful institutions. Bitcoin, if it is money separated from all human control. Bitcoin allows us, for the first time ever in our lives, to look at the idea of money purely as money, separated from any contaminating influences and control. It cuts away the external and distorting influences upon money from the thing that money itself is. It allows us to look at money alone, in isolation, in its purest form, purified money. This is true whether or not we come to believe or accept that Bitcoin is purified money, because in just making this claim, Bitcoin causes us to ask, what is purified money when it is separated from the controlling influence of others?
You're listening to episode 2 of last week's video, The Legendary Treasure of Satoshi Nakamoto. Click the link on the screen to watch the first episode. Today's video is sponsored by Stamp Seed. Don't store your Bitcoin in cold storage without stamping your seed phrase on an indestructible titanium plate. Stamp Seed is fireproof, rust-proof, impact-proof, and easy to hide. It has no loose parts and will give you ultimate peace of mind that your Bitcoin is safe and sound for the long term. Click the link in the description below for 15% off your stamping kit. Welcome to Bit Intelligence. We are committed to bringing you top-notch Bitcoin-only content, twice weekly. Doing this is quite a lot of work. If you are enjoying it and you'd like to support us in making more of these videos, subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon. If you are willing to go a step further, we've also launched memberships starting as low as $2.99 per month. There are details and a sign-up link in the description below. If you're already a Bitcoiner and you'd prefer to tip your server in sats, you can donate to our Lightning wallet, here. Okay, back to the video. We're talking about purified money, remember?
Some of us discover that money itself, which we previously thought of as an integral part of a system corrupted by many forms of wickedness, greed, injustice, and unfairness, turns out to have nothing to do with any of those things. We find that money is good, and that it is as much a victim of that corrupted system as we are. We learn that purified money is simply a way for us to deal peacefully with each other through mutual agreement. It simply lets us trade something we have, like our possessions, our skills, or our time, with other people in exchange for something they have, money. And that we can then use our money to trade for something someone else has, their possessions, their skills, their time, without force, without violence, without lies, without someone else taking a cut, without someone else telling us whether we're permitted to. Pure money is the enabler of peaceful dealings between free people. This is a powerful insight in and of itself, but it also opens us up to a further step in our spiritual journey, exploring other things in their purest form. Seeing that one thing, money, which we thought was necessarily part of an evil, guilty, or imperfect institution, turned out to in fact be innocent and good when stripped of contaminants, makes many of us wonder if the same could be true of other things, especially other things that are wrapped up tightly in complicated institutions with questionable motives. We are freed to ask, what if I separate some other idea from the institutions now in control of it? What is education apart from the schooling system and degree-granting institutions? What is healthcare apart from the medical establishment and pharmaceutical industry? What is morality when stripped of authorities claiming a monopoly on it? And for some, or perhaps many even, what is spirituality, religion, or God apart from the institutions claiming to speak on their behalf? And as we begin to explore those questions, it turns out that for many of us, the source of much of our concerns, our anger, our hatred, or our frustrations with these and other topics is not actually related to the core or pure idea. Instead, it is the institutions that have wrapped themselves around the idea that have tainted it. So for those of us who rejected the moral, spiritual, and religious realm because of our dislike or mistrusts of its earthly institutions, Bitcoin now provides us with a template for asking and learning about that thing purified, extricated from these contaminants. And if we do, then so begins another journey, or several, framed similarly to our first question that Bitcoin made us ask of what actually is money. We now ask, what actually is learning? What actually is being healthy? What actually our purpose, morality, and spirit? Isn't it remarkable that asking the simple question, what actually is money, begins, for many, a journey whose path might lead to asking a question like, what actually is God? And then going down that path.
Part 3. Bitcoin is spiritual money. Awakening the spirit of freedom.
Bitcoin is purely digital. It is intangible. It is non-material. The non-material is the spiritual. It thus follows that Bitcoin is a spiritual form of money. Bitcoin does require things that come from the material, non-spiritual world, all that math and physics and computer programming that go into it. However, it also requires reaching a conclusion that states, this is what I personally believe that good, pure money really is, and which I will therefore use as money. And there are many implications of reaching that conclusion. Spiritual implications. First, one must accept that an intangible thing is nevertheless real. Much of the dismissal for many people of the idea that the spiritual realm is real comes down to its immateriality. They hold the following to be true. If I can't touch it, then it isn't real, or at least it isn't as real as some alternative that I can touch. Many people even believe that the intangible is just an illusion. Some go so far as to assert that their consciousness and their free will are just illusions. You cannot touch consciousness or free will, the argument goes, and so these must just be illusions created by those things you can touch. However, if you find yourself believing in Bitcoin, you have reached the belief that money that can't be touched is more real money than any that can be touched. And once again, you have a model for re-examining your previously held beliefs about reality and purity of things that can't be touched. But it is more than merely its intangibility that makes choosing Bitcoin a choice that necessitates accepting immaterial ideas as both real and important. This belief that Bitcoin is pure has another very important implication. Making the choice to use that which you believe to be pure. This too is a spiritual decision. Why choose to use pure money? What is special about purity? Why not mix something else in? After all, we have a system of money that already has government, central banks, and all those other characteristics mixed in. Why choose purity? The answer to this is not obvious. To arrive at choosing a pure money over one that comes pre-mixed with other things, one must hold that purity is goodness, or at least one must hold that purity lets the goodness of a thing come to the fore. We can make a quick exploration of this idea through an analogy to food. Consider a pure, ripe banana. A pure banana can be used in many different ways. It can be eaten on its own, blended into a smoothie, baked into banana bread, added to a banana split, or taped to a wall and sold as art. But once made into something else, the banana is committed to a state other than pure banananess, thus limiting its potential uses. Thus, a pure banana can be used by more people for more things than can a banana strawberry smoothie. And it is specifically the fact that it does not limit how you can use money that Bitcoiners believe is what makes Bitcoin, pure money, better than adulterated money. This means that Bitcoiners hold that the freedom to choose what to do with money is good. Bitcoiners have made a judgment on what freedom is, and they have a sense of what it means. This means that Bitcoiners hold that the freedom to choose what to do with money is good. Bitcoiners have made a moral judgment on what freedom is, and they have a sense of what that means. That it means being able to make personal choices. Freedom is, of course, another spiritual idea. You cannot touch freedom. Yet, if you value pure money, you value money whose very use is the exercise of freedom.
Watch the next episode here. We recommend watching all 3 episodes. We'll see you next time.